Let's dive into it today. Pam Bondi has crossed the line, and we are going to get into it because this could be at risk for DeFi. I'll explain all that. Let's just jump to the list on Polymarket. If you look at the current cabinet, you got David Sachs leading the way at around 58%, but not a lot of volume. Most likely that's going to be saved by what's happening with Clarity. You got Christy Nome, she's out, done. Tulsi Gabbard, Scavino, zero volume, so not likely. Pam Bondi, though, definitely starting to go at the top of this, which means we could see some movement on the horizon here with Pam Bondi. And there's a lot of reasons why. You take a look at Roman Storm. And of course, Roman Storm, part of the Tornado Cash issue. This was a trial that was done. You'll notice that name, Judge Faella. This is the XRP judge, which is very aware of what's going on in blockchain. This trial happened, and he was basically acquitted of 2 of the 3 counts. One was a very kind of a frivolous count, but 2 of the 3, which were the big ones. And the 2 counts that the jury couldn't unanimously decide on is what they're doing now. And this is now 4 weeks of evidence, deadlock, no verdict on money laundering, which was the big one, and no verdict on the sanctionless violations. So what's happening now is that the Department of Justice is going after it again, second time that they're going to try to jump in on this. And this is 4 more weeks of trial. This guy's getting fatigued. And we've seen this happen all over, but we've really seen a lot of focus in on Roman Storm. So you look at that, and here is Amanda Tuminelli, which we've talked to before. It is important because this starts to affect maybe the future of decentralized finance. This, of course, is the DeFi Education Fund. And if you look at what she's talking about, this is where they're getting in on it, which is the SDNY will now retry Roman Storm on counts 1 and 3 of the indictment, retrying after a hung jury. So, and a judge that actually is very, I would say, pro-crypto because she understands it in Judge Faella. So big deals happening right now. And remember, Tarek kind of talked about this a little bit, and she said, hey, I remember thinking when Judge Faella seemed more sympathetic to the coders behind Uniswap versus what we saw in the Tornado Cash situation. When you look at this, Uniswap is a more neutral infrastructure than Tornado Cash. Remember, Uniswap winning their case. Really, all you'd have to do is demonstrate that they're equal. This would pretty much, I think, put Judge Faella in the position to where maybe this case starts to fall in the line of at least Roman Storm. But the real question is, why is the DOJ continuing to push going in this direction? Now let's take a look at what's going on with the Treasury Department, because coincidentally, they put out a statement on mixers, which appeared to be positive for DeFi. But this is the reality of it. The very notion of lawful users of digital assets implicates a mechanism to distinguish between lawful and unlawful use, simply meaning, yeah, this is not going to work. It's not necessarily decentralized finance. This is the whole point behind what now we're seeing coming out of the Department of Treasury. If you look at the situation right now and who Trump is going to pardon, notice something. There is no mention at all. I mean, we got Roger Ver in there, Steve Bannon, Eric Adams. I mean, you got pretty much, Do Kwon's even on the list, but not Roman Storm. So very intriguing here, guys. I don't understand why he would not be on that list. I mean, if you look at decentralized finance, which is one of the big cornerstones of the Clarity Act going forward, why would he not have at least a shot to where Trump could maybe take a look at this? I mean, in fact, that if you think about it, Trump pardoned Justin Sun, just got pardoned right there. So this is clearly being targeted in some way. Why is the question? So if you look further into things that have been going on, remember, if you guys remember, there was this McHenry, Patrick McHenry, there was a big probe on the SEC and the DOJ action around Sam Bankman-Fried. And this was really about the correlation between Gary Gensler and Sam Bankman, meaning they were communicating. But the Department of Justice didn't even go after this. This, of course, happened several years ago in 2023. So why not? All these things are just kind of slipping under the blanket. Further into this, do you guys remember this one? I don't know if you've been in crypto long enough, but this is one of the companies that went out there very hard against getting regulation done. It was Prometheum. Now you've got the same guy, this same guy right here, that dude. Yeah, I remember him. He's now saying, yeah, we need to get clarity in place so my business can start to operate. So that's such, two-headed vipers we've got going on in this market. Well, here's what's going on right now. The House Oversight Panel now is voting to subpoena Pam Bondi all around the Epstein probe. And of course, the reason, you look at it right here, Nancy Mace moved to subpoena the Attorney General, and it passed 24-19 with bipartisan support. Congress also passed a law last year requiring the DOJ to publicly release all of its investigative files related to Epstein. Remember, she has slowed that release down, which has created a firestorm of effect on the Trump administration, really for just what she's doing. Now, whether she's doing it at Trump's direction, who knows how this is being orchestrated, but right now it is a big deal. All right, so when you look at this article, this is where Republicans have switched their focus from Pam Bondi, or to Pam Bondi from Kristi Noem. And if you look at the thing that Burchett said, basically, she's in the batter box now. And that's Republicans pointing at her now. So pretty big deal. If you look at the Google trends right here, there's really only two names that have popped up on this list. David Sachs, not really seen. Bovino, not really seen, but Noem, yes. And of course, we know what happened to her. And now, Pam Bondi, yes, she had a lot of this. And of course, all this was happening during the Epstein. We may see another spike in trends. So after the subpoena, you see this is in place. There's no real date set on this. I was reading the article, so no official date is set for the required hearing. But remember, she's been in hearings before. In fact, I've got a clip from the last one, which was very explosive, that may ouch on the Trump presidency after all. Take a look at this.
None of them asked Merrick Garland over the last 4 years one word about Jeffrey Epstein. How ironic is that? You know why? Because Donald Trump, the Dow right now is over, the Dow is over $50,000. I don't know why you're laughing. The Dow is over 50,000 right now. The S&P at almost 7,000.
Does she even know what the Dow is? I'm beginning to wonder because the way she was responding to that. One other thing to note here is the 50,000 narrative there is going to stick with this administration forever, because it's been now basically iconically driven into all of social media that that's the top. So if we don't get past that, Pam Bondi would be calling the top. That's the kind of implication this would have on the administration going forward. Other implications that happen right now, of course, is the DOJ improperly installing New Jersey prosecutors. This, of course, starts to create a lot more problems, because now you could literally have thousands of federal criminal cases that could end up getting dismissed because of this result. So this is going to boil down to the Republicans being pointed at, and this will put them in a position where essentially they're going to take her out, basically for her unqualifications around what she's doing as the U.S. Attorney. So you guys also remember Cato. They sued the FBI over this. This is in reference to the FISA records, which is Section 702, and this is all around surveillance powers. And now, if you look further down here, thus far, Attorney General Pam Bondi has not weighed in on that, which is one of the most, I think, one of the most important things out there right now. And of course, she is continuing to put herself in a position where I think she is done or will be soon. The behind the scenes push right now comes as Congress, of course, is getting cleared toward the deadline for Section 702. In other words, if this doesn't happen, this is going to extend, which is a problem. This happens on April 20th. So a big deal that she's not even brought this up right now. So it's going to extend under Pam Bondi. I want to go to a clip because she's responding to this. Take a look.
Section 702 of the Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Act. I've called this the most important law that most people have never heard of. I know you have, and you're familiar with it. It's been called the crown jewel of U.S. intelligence. And of course, it cannot be used, legally used, to spy on American citizens. We have a temporary extension that expires in 2026. And I'd like you just to confirm here on the record that you will enforce that law.
Senator, I haven't read the entire 702 in front of you, but I will commit to reading that and doing everything I can to keep America safe again.
Do you share concerns that you need to get a warrant requirement in order to show probable cause that a crime, including espionage, perhaps, has been committed?
I would read his memo, and I will speak to you after I read his memo, Senator.
Another thing that has been happening with the DOJ, this is Live Nation, which is settling the antitrust case with the DOJ, which is avoiding the Ticketmaster breakup. And you guys have heard me talk about this quite a bit on the show. Ticketmaster, I think, is one of those that just needs to go away. One of the note here was that this was like a $200 million fine, and then once you got that done in the settlement to Live Nation, and then you can go back to doing your bad things again. So listen to what this analyst had to say. Take a look.
Even if it's $280 million, right? Like that's nothing. Bigger things, as I understand them, would be they would have to open up parts of the platform, and they're like, tight, we have all the branding, all the distribution, all of the other advantages we've already always had. This is going to cost us nothing.
Merrick Garland, when he first announced this case, said that they wanted to break up Live Nation Ticketmaster.
Yeah. Is this going to feel like a win to the Swifties?
It doesn't seem like that's how they're going to take it.
How sus. They are settling with Live Nation 1 week into trial. Murphy Lee Russell writes to the judge and says, hey, waking up to the news not yet docketed that the DOJ and the states might be settling with Live Nation without any divestiture of Ticketmaster. There are multiple CEOs, multiple executives that have come out to say they were threatened and retaliated against for going against Live Nation and Ticketmaster. He filed a letter with the court and the judge and said, hey, exhibits are not being shown to the public or the press, and they should be, especially if they're being shown to a jury. Not only that, but the courtroom audio feed got cut off, and so the judge actually put in an order saying, hey, you gotta show those text messages and anything that is on the docket. We have a right to know what the government uncovered. They need to file it publicly within 24 hours, but they've not done that. This is wild.
All right, so there you go. Well, sus, or just you guys understand what's going on. This is corruption. It does get into this level, and if you compare that with what now Senator Warren's going to be doing, which she's going to be using this to her advantage. If you love going to concerts, well, Trump's deal means you'll keep paying the Ticketmaster tax. And this is a problem that's been in the industry for a very long time. We've covered it here quite a bit on the show because we think at one point blockchain will be a part of this. But it is one that, of course, gets slid under the radar again by the DOJ. And, of course, here's Senator Warren hitting right there. Taylor Swift, Swifties lose. Pearl Jam loses. Pretty much everybody gets to lose on this one, but Trump just gave them the equivalent of a corporate pardon. I would agree with that issue right now, especially with this settlement for a very low amount and the fact that you have all these other companies that are competing with Ticketmaster. This is a bad deal in general, and it's all coming out of Bondi. Here, of course, though, was Kid Rock. He comes in. I thought this guy was for artists, and he comes in and partners with Live Nation. So things are looking a little bit sus out there for sure, as they say. Let me go to a kind of our rundown of some of the things that have been happening. So what we did here was we broke down the high-profile firings, and we said, kind of like Kobeisi did, you know, what were the things they did wrong that Trump outed them on? And this, of course, is Pam Bondi there, or excuse me, this, of course, is Kristi Noem and Elon. One, they lost the winning issues for Trump, which was immigration and government spending cuts. That was the biggest. Then you can kind of go into the second one, which is they stole mindshare. This was a problem in general. You cannot take away mindshare from Trump. These guys were spotlight bad boys. And then, of course, you have hurting the OBBB sentiment, which is Trump's signature legislation. And Elon, of course, that's the one big, beautiful bill, if you guys don't know. But Elon, of course, have trashed it. Kristi Noem, she's spending out there with ICE funding very, frivolously. This, of course, is another reason she got fired. Then you have number 4, which was Republican midterm pressure. This is going to be a big deal because you've got red state anger, of course, both FEMA. Then you have Social Security issues. Texas could be flipping. Who knows? This is mayhem going in there because of this cabinet pick, these two especially. And then you have to look at number 5. And this is the cringe factor. And if you think about Trump, he's a theater guy and, he's a showman. So he doesn't want people who don't present well. So bad central casting. And of course, as we know, Kristi Noem with her flak jacket and her, cowboy hats out there on the, anyway, you guys get the point. These are the 5. All right, so let's go in and see where Pam Bondi falls in these 5. Number 1, she lost the key winning issues for Trump. This is a reference to transparency around the Epstein issue, right? And going after the bad guys. Nobody's been arrested. So there you go. That's number 1. Number 2, stole mindshare. Again, this is a problem where you get more Epstein narrative that just keeps on hitting the market. The conspiracy theorists are running rampant. The influencers are going crazy. This is all because of Bondi. Number 3, hurting the one big beautiful bill again. And again, this is Epstein votes caused shutdowns, major delays in health care, as well as the clarity legislation. All that has been slowed down. That is another reason that's going to hit. And then number 4, they need a sacrificial lamb. I think it's going to be her. She's the one they will cut. And the cringe factor, she's probably more memed on TikTok than Kristi Noem. So again, another bad central casting move, which of course does create the narrative around this. She is the next one to go. You guys stick around. There's probably more coming soon. If you like this video, hit like and subscribe, drop a comment down below, and also join our free private member group. The link is in the description.